Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. In today's video, we are going to be making this infinity top. It's a top you can style in multiple ways, and I would like you to stick around to the end of this video. I used 5 yards of this fabric and it really came out beautiful. Let's get right into the video for this top, and it's an exotic batik fantasy fabric. It's not 100% cotton, but I got 6 yards of this fabric and I ended up using 5 yards. The measurements that you need are your half of your front bust measurement and your waist circumference, and you would draft 3 patterns. A long rectangle, long as 90 inch, and the width will be half of your front bust measurement. The second rectangle you will draft is your waist circumference plus 2 inch for zip allowance, and the width will be 4 inch wide. And then the next pattern that you draft is your waist, your circle, which is your flay. The circle I drafted for this was a circle. The pattern I wanted to make from this was a circle with a box split, so I multiplied my waist circumference by 1.5 inch. That's what I used to draft out my waist circumference. Dividing your waist circumference by 6.28, which is the formula for finding the circle of, or the perimeter of a circle, I used it to mark out my pattern. Now my waist divided by 6.28 was 7.9, so I just folded my paper into two, and like I gave you the first fold and then the second fold, and on that fold I marked out 7.9 along the line and then cut it out. I went ahead and cut out a smaller circle just because for the length of the flay. I cut it out shorter because the paper was not enough. And here I'm just cutting out the rectangular pieces. I cut 4 of these rectangular pieces, 2 for one side and 2 for the other side. And here I'm extending the actual length of my circle. I divided the circle into 3 pieces, 1 piece in front and 2 pieces for the back. In the center you have your zipper, and here I'm just cutting out my waistband. So we have our 4 rectangular pieces, our waistband, which is 1 strip, and then our circle, which has the front pattern and then the 2 back patterns, which makes it 3 pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead and join our circle together, front to back and then the front to the back. Once we're done joining our circle together, we'll go ahead and hem the bottom of the circle or the flay. I took it to my overlock machine, which I didn't show you here, and overlocked it, and then I went ahead and gave it a nice sewing along the line. So here I'm just holding in all, like if you have 20 inch as excess fabric or as excess from your measurement, I multiplied my waist measurement by 1.5, and assuming you have 20 inch as excess that comes out from the measurement, you just go ahead and you divide the 20 inch by the number of pleat points that you want to have. For me, I have 4 pleat points, so if you want to have 5 pleat points, you just divide your 20 inch by the 5 pleat points. That's 20 inch by 5, you get 4. But for me, I had 4 pleat points, so I did 20 inch divided by 4, and then I just pinned in the excess. So I mark out the point I want my pleat to be, and I take in 5 inch at that point. I go to the next point I want my pleat to be, and I take in 5 inch at that point and spread, and then just do the same for all of the pleat points. So once I'm done, I stitch it down. I have a very explanatory video on how to do a box pleat with ease, no stress, so I'd like you to check that video for a better explanation if this is not so clear. The link will be in the description box below. So we're done with our box pleats. We'll go ahead to the rectangular piece and then stitch the long 90 inch length 12-inch length and the 19-inch length, and then we're going to leave the bottom of the 12-inch length open just so we can flip it, and that also is going to go into the waistband, so it's not going to really show, or it's not going to show at all. This was a lot of sewing, but for me I chose this. Even if it consumed a lot of fabric, I didn't want to fold a double fold at the both 90-inch piece of 2 strips of fabric. I didn't have that strength, so I just opted for this, using a lining to flip it over. And here I'm just ironing it down to have a nice finish. Who remembers this blanket? Everybody almost had this blanket in secondary school. Yeah, that's what I'm just using as a base for my iron. Once I'm done, we'll go ahead to our waistband. For the waistband, I wanted it to have a bit of stability, so I used this Este fabric. It's also called a hemming. No, it's also called a fusible interfacing. It's woven, it has gum on this side. You just gum it down to give it a bit of stability at the waistband. So once I'm done ironing the Este or the fusible interfacing on the waistband, I just go ahead and fold down one end of my waistband by 1/2 inch, and then I'll cut the center of the waistband. Well, I cut it just because I'm going to sandwich the long strips of fabric, a rectangular piece, which is the top of the top we are making, in between the waistband. So after this, I'll just go ahead and stitch down the waistband to the flay, making sure that you have 1/2 inch as extra at the end of the waistband to finish it off once we're done sewing, just like this. After this, we'll just go ahead and attach the other side of the waistband on the same line, using the initial stitch line as a guide. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? If you've gotten to this point, subscribe to my channel and stick around for more content. After attaching our waistband, it's time to install the zipper. So I'm going to stitch down the point that we're going to install the zipper. I install 6 inch from the top of the waistband, and then I just hem down the other part. Like I hem down the other part that I would not be installing the zipper, back stitched, and I went ahead and installed the zipper. This is how I usually prefer to install my zipper. Like if you have a bag where you store your fabrics, and very useful to you now that we are all on lockdown / quarantine / social distancing. Lucky for me, I found a zipper with the color that I desired, but it was a bit long, so I'm just going to attach the zipper anyways and then trim off the excess at the bottom. It's zipper time. Zipper time, zipper time, zipper time. So I'm just going ahead and pinning down the zipper. I usually like to do my zips one at a time. I attach the first side and then I go to the other side and attach as well. That way I'm very sure that the size match. For the zipper, you need a zipper foot for this. I just attach my zipper foot and then sew down my zip. Ignore my scarf, my wiggity. Whenever I'm home, I like to tie my hair up. So once I'm done with the left side, was this the left side? I think, yeah, it was left side. I just go to the right side and do the same thing to the right side. Pin down, make sure that it matches with the left side waistband, and I stitch across as well. So yeah, I'm just here trying to make sure that everything matches up nicely and I'm satisfied with it. I use my biro, mark it out. I'm satisfied with it, and then I go ahead to the sewing machine and I stitch. For the long strips, we're going to do a basting stitch. We'll set our machine tension on 0, and I set my stitch length on 4, and I did a basting stitch across. But you'd like to check your settings on your machine to know how you do that on your own sewing machine. So once I've done that, I just pull the gathers together and then I place it on the front pattern of the flay on the waistband and stitch down. So I'm just here finishing off the waistband. Now I won't lie, this is an intermediate project, especially with the method of finishing that I'm using, but you can also use a simpler method of finishing. You don't have to finish off your waistband like this, and it will be easier for you. Hopefully after some time I can make another video on this showing an easier method, a simpler method of finishing off your top without having to go through this method of sewing. So once we're done, we'll just start to fold in the waistbands together. I'm pinning it down, and then we'll give a top stitch. So here I'm just going to be folding in the waistband. This way, when we fold in, we are going to be hiding the seams or whatever frayed edges that should show. We're going to be hiding all of that. Then we'll do a final top stitch and we're good.